What do you want?
I see we are pulling the Fuck Destiny record again out of content, huh?
Why? Okay, do you guys hear a lisp? Hold on, let's listen for that lisp. I know this is the anti-fan talking point, okay, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I like his lisp.
Wait, is that how you feel about this?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Okay, that's good. Because I was like, this got booked. I went through Hobbit Follower. I feel like I was definitely not doing the Max Carson thing.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Oh wait, okay. Two quick things to bring up, I think, that are worth keeping in mind. Do you remember when conservatives like canceled Bud Light?
Yeah.
I think it's cute. I think it's cute that he is like, okay, I hopefully he isn't like too ashamed of it, okay? Because I think it's cute. Right? I think it's cute that he's shy about the lisp. I think that part is cute. The part where he vehemently denies the lisp, I think that's cute, okay? If he actually admits that he has a lisp, then that's no fun anymore, in my opinion. But yeah, okay. What's this? I hate it. Okay, I hate it when people perceive. Fuck. If there's anything that pisses me off, it's that when people are like comparing me to an anti-fan, dude, or like to that. I compare myself to being mean sometimes, but like not the conducive thing. He didn't compare me to an anti-fan. Like the whole like conducive to behavior. Like, dude, it's my fucking stream. If you don't like it, go away. Okay. If you don't like it, then get out of my audience. Okay, Jesus. Ugh, so cringe.
I think one thing that's worth keeping in mind is
like go back to GGG, okay? Oh my god, that's where all the weirdos hang out.
When we talk about like the first thing is like we know this is true, but it's good to remind ourselves sometimes like not all canceling is bad, right? Like if somebody like murders 100 children or whatever, like it's probably okay that this guy's like doesn't have a YouTube channel or something.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like there's obviously like
yeah. I think like COVID misinfo being blocked on YouTube, which I granted a Hobbit follower before, is like totally reasonable because I think it was like super dangerous and stupid.
Yeah, although I think you should be careful with that because I listened to the Hobbit. I think most of that conversation. I think most of what conservatives were mad when it came to cancel culture actually was about
timestamp proof. What is this?
You said some while ago you want to go to a speech therapist, right? Oh, it'd be nice if I could fix my...
1 year ago?
The sound of my... we've gone over this a million times. The sound of my S's is fine, but the placement is off, so it causes my jaw to move a little bit. I can place the S's correctly, but when I say my S's here, it sounds like I have a lisp now, even though my mouth isn't moving. My jaw shouldn't be moving at all because now it's centered in my mouth, but it sounds like I have a lisp. I don't know if I just need to...
Because you have a lisp. Because you have a lisp, that's fine. I mean, it's whatever. It's better to own your position. I mean, okay, all right, whatever. Hey, dude, you know what? At least he's a human being, okay? At least he is still feeling insecurity, okay? I want to see Steven feel insecurity. I want him to express that he has insecurities, okay? Being honest and open about your insecurities is a good thing as long as you're not doing it in a cringe way, okay? All right, that's my position. You're welcome. Okay, thank you. Cool.
COVID stuff. Because that's when like the huge crackdown on YouTube and Facebook started with like vaccine and COVID misinformation. That was like the mass banning that everybody got super ass-banned about.
Sort of.
There were people that were like,
sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely, I promise. Well, there were people that got like banned on YouTube before. But like people don't know about these people. Like you guys were looking for names earlier of like right wingers that were like super banned. Do you know people like remember Stefan Molyneux?
Yeah, or like Arch Warhammer, somebody I'm thinking of. Like when I say super like, banned, that's the most extreme. But I do think that there is a pressure of like stifling speech that happened for people, even if they weren't outright banned, like demonetizing them, going to their workplace to try to get them like fired or any sort of things. Like just the broadband cancellation. I think it goes all the way up to banning, and I think it begins at like areas of like pressuring platforms to shadow ban or demonetize or any of these sorts of things.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Okay. So I pointed out the Disney thing earlier, the Bud Light thing earlier, and then like liberals, and then there are like liberals that like cancel people, right? But like earlier, I think we all agreed that like these weren't generally led or cheerled by, Democrat leadership or like huge like parts of the Democratic establishment. Usually it was kind of like cultural stuff.
It's
like
not
on
politicians.
Twitter and
it's exclusively culture of the left, right? Like this is what I've said as well, is we have this issue where our Democratic politicians are actually not at all that much like the like culture, particularly the culture that we created between 2016 and 2020, because our culture was a lot more crazy. It was like getting into like the neo-gender stuff. Now that was particularly terminally online, but there was a massive push in like a certain direction that actually our politicians weren't there, which I agree with.
Mm-hmm. And something I used to make fun of the right wing for a lot on this was that, like, in a way, I feel like this is kind of like capitalism. It's like if people want to, have a cultural movement and they want to not support something, they kind of have the right to do that. Now, I know you're not really talking about do we have the right to do it. You're saying like, should we do it? But I
Very
would say
sad.
that
Thank
like
you.
this is like a form of like free speech, like I don't want to support this platform because they're doing this. And then, we can argue over, well, what are those things that we should or shouldn't support? But the reason why I bring that up is because I think there's a huge distinction between that, because when you compare that to what happens on the right, like the Bud Light stuff or like the go woke, go broke Disney stuff, I don't think people on the left really cared that much about that. Like if people want to boycott companies, fine. It was the fact that like the president of the United States is like cheerleading or is behind a lot of these movements. And I think that's like a different type of thing. Like we use words like cancel and censor like kind of interchangeably.
Yes.
Like on the left, and then for the Bud Light stuff or whatever, that was like quote unquote cancel culture. But like when it's led by the president, that's like censorship. I think
agree.
it's like a meaningfully different thing. Yeah.
I agree. I'm just going to pause you. I'm just letting my Twitch viewers know I have to stop right now. I just thought about it. I'll probably
Oh,
get
shit.
mute.
Okay. I believe in like 1 minute. So
No,
or
no,
2
you're
minutes,
good.
so
I'll just
sorry.
restart Twitch in like 3 seconds.
It's over.
So that it's not double my face. I definitely agree, right? And so like if the argument is oh fuck, I did it again. That's how I solve this. If the argument is Republicans are so much worse, yeah, I think the censorship, like pressuring the FCC, is more extreme than anything that we saw Biden, which is one of my frustrations with Maloney or whatever that Ryan guy's last name is.
What?
Right? Which is that
Oh.
that just is objectively worse. The problem that I have is when on the left, it feels like when I listen to a lot of people, we just rewrite what happened after Gamergate, not just on the internet, although the internet has trickled into life very heavily, where COVID was banned, and there was a lot of that, but COVID was banning, to be honest, like remember when Dylan Burns got nuked over COVID because he just like talked about it? Like COVID was starting
I mean,
just,
I
like,
had multiple strikes on COVID. and
I'm
I had
sure
to
you
kill
did.
them.
Yeah.
like,
So
it was-
like
yeah.
it seemed more bipartisan. So when like Republicans bring that up, I'm like, I know multiple
Huh. I wasn't a content creator during that time. Got him.
left-leaning people that
Well-
were pro-COVID vaccine that were getting
So,
like strikes.
Yeah,
and
I
nukes.
understand that. Well, but so like it wasn't bipartisan. It was definitely like it was towards a certain direction. Like when I got hit, it was an accident because I was talking about the vaccines and I was able to appeal it. But if I was doing actual like anti-vaxxer stuff, I probably wouldn't have been able to appeal it.
Sure, which
I
was
will
more
say one of
right-wing.
the challenges. Yeah, one of the challenges for some stuff is like, let's say that you have, like 2 kids in a classroom and one genuinely misbehaves more than the other. Well, what are you going to do? One is probably going to get in trouble with me. Does that mean you hate them? I don't know. I mean, for conservatives, do you send the police equally to all parts of the city, or do you send it more to the parts with more crime? Well, if you send it to the parts with more crime, don't conservatives always say now liberals are going to call us racist and prejudiced? Well, maybe Black people are these poor parts just commit more crime. Sure. When it comes to censoring like misinformation or hateful speech, I mean, like conservatives kind of do it more, and it's hard to get around that. I think sometimes, especially when it like if you go online and now, especially like 2020 onwards, you're seeing like flat Earth stuff, misinformation about moon landing, COVID, vaccines. Like if you hit somebody on these things, like 95% of them are going to be conservatives. Like, what do you do about that?
Sure. So the issue is that my argument isn't about the justifiability of it, right? I think that there is a conversation to have there, and I actually don't know where I fall perfectly because I think it's really complicated. Like, who is justified to basically have their speech suppressed because they are harming the town square, essentially, and who isn't? I don't know actually where I fall in justifiability. The issue that I am pointing out is that there was a change where certain speech was fine, like pre-2016, and then it wasn't, and I would like I need to like
Velvet, thank you so much for the 1 gifted sub on Kick, buddy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sorry, I am listening intently. I really am. Okay, I promise I'm listening intently to this. But thank you so much. I appreciate that.
go look for more like conservative examples. But even before the COVID stuff, it seemed like there was a large amount of conservative channels getting nuked for conservative positions. Now, some of the conservative positions they got nuked for were really bad. And some of the conservative positions were like edgy jokes that, to be frank, a lot of left-leaning content creators weren't getting nuked for nearly as much. They weren't getting completely nuked off of platforms or having people going to their Patreon to try to like.
Wait, is she defending the conservative platforming that was done by private companies? Fuck, but like these two are different examples, right? Because on one hand, the reason why the private companies were doing that is because they didn't want to have any bad press, because the press was pretty negative, right, in terms of like these specific political commentators, right, and for good reason as well, right? But then the media companies started to
hold the line. This hamlet shall not fall.
Zip. Thank you so much for the kick rate, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, like, I wouldn't say it's the same because one is state sanctioned. One is state sanctioned deplatforming, The other one is not state-sanctioned deplatforming, private deplatforming, okay? And I think that there needs to be a distinction between these two and different ways of dealing with these two as different situations, right? The danger of like going back to the way that conservatives are being deplatformed is that there was no pressure from the state that is doing it, right? As for the COVID thing, you can bring up that the COVID stuff and the misinformation correction is there, sure, but it's nowhere near the same as what Trump has been doing, right? To compare these two would be a great, would be disingenuous, right? Because the thing is the way that I kind of look at it is like, okay, for COVID, you want to prevent as many Americans from dying immediately, okay? So you have a bunch of Americans who are like literally fucking dying, okay? They're like chicken McDying, okay? It's not regular dying. It's like hentai, McChicken, McHentai levels of dying, okay? Which is a great amount, by the way, okay? Just saying. So, when Trump is literally deplatforming people because they hurt his feelings, to me, that's not the same level. I think that I'm not exactly a full pro First Amendment person. I really am not. However, I would say I'm generally extremely pro First Amendment, though, right? If millions of Americans are dying, I might consider bending the First Amendment a little bit. I do consider that. I do consider maybe we should bend the First Amendment to save millions of Americans from dying. I think that that is an important enough issue to warrant bending the First Amendment over, okay? However, what I don't think is a crazy fucking thing is... Sorry, what I think is a crazy fucking thing is Trump bending the First Amendment to fuck over lawyers that were previously prosecuting against him as a mode of revenge in his executive orders, period, full stop. And to deplatform Jimmy Kimmel, right? A federally threatened mandated deplatforming, bending, and destruction of the First Amendment based off of the hurt feelings of President Trump, okay? So that is the issue, all right? Because we all agree that the First Amendment does not count and should not count if somebody's life is in danger, right? If you're calling for someone to be killed via coordinated assassination, like actually planned assassination, we all agree that the First Amendment should not apply in that scenario, right? Now, what is the macro level of that? The macro level of calling for mass assassination or to downplay a planned assassination is the COVID disinformation, okay? That is that on a macro level. I would say that you can make an argument for it, okay? Who the fuck knows, all right? But the thing is that, again, you trying to compare that to the COVID stuff with the Trump stuff is already disingenuous. That's not an equal example that you can just simply bring up, right? The argument is moot anyway. Private platforms are not bound by the First Amendment. It applies to the government. Congress shall make no law respecting or establishing... No, I know. That's what I brought up. Yeah, I also brought up that part. Yes, I brought that part up. Yes.
Destroy them.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But like, if we think about like the big nukes, you know, like what was happening, you know, you had the Sargon of Akkad joke, which you brought up, or Hobbit brought up, and then you kind of corrected him. It was a joke. I don't think he was sincerely going to rape that woman or whatever.
Yeah, of course not. It was a super edgy like joke that I don't like. But that got him demonetized.
But he was also like, yeah, but I think he said this while he was like, wasn't he trying to run for like a UKIP seat in 2020 when he was doing this? I think he was running for government when he made this comment, I think.
No,
like a
he got
pretty
nuked.
wild-
He got demonetized in 2019, is like what me and Hobbit, I believe. I think it was Hobbit that sent it, or somebody in chat said
Yeah,
that.
it might have been.
I
Yeah.
think it was 2019. So he did start running later, and I do think he's radicalized over time. But when I listen to like Sargon
Sure.
of Akkad in your debate with him in like what 2016 to 18, right? I don't see this extreme radical right winger, but he was
Yeah, I don't really
already
think he was an extreme radical right winger in 2016, 2018, but he also wasn't demonetized then either, right?
he was getting a large amount of pressure though, because people like Arch Warhammer will talk about this, right? Because Arch Warhammer was somebody that went through no demonetization, but a complete abject cancelization of his channel, right? Like he just never really
Wait,
recovered
how could he
his
get
channel.
canceled? What do you mean by not?
I mean,
what do you mean by
culturally canceled, right? So like everyone turned on him, said that he was a horrible
Well, but,
person,
like,
and
what is-
misconstrued him in ways that like genuinely were not fair. When you
Yeah,
look back at it.
so I understand. And I understand sometimes we're going to talk about the general principle of a thing, but I think it's really important, like before we talk about how we've ceded the moral high ground or how we have no right to talk about a thing, to get like the factual stuff straight too. Like if you walk in and you see like some 40-year-old dude just like punch this like 60-year-old guy like right in the face, and he's like on the ground, and you're like, whoa, that was wrong. And they're like, well, hold on, ask him first. Why do you do it? It's like, okay, why'd you punch that guy? And the guy's like, well, he hit me first. It's like, well, okay,
Sure.
maybe that's fair then. But then you find out when I said he hit me first, that's actually my dad, and he spanked me when I was a kid. It's like, well, hold on, that's not really the same thing, right? I feel like it's important to get into the minutia, not super minutia, but like, why are people getting canceled? Like, what does it mean when we say canceled? And like, is it really the same thing as like the FCC?
Okay, I can't tell if Pickles Nathan is trolling me. Can anybody from DG chat tell me whether or not Pickles Nation is like Pickles Nation, fuck me, is like normally like this or not? I can't tell, because that has to be the most retarded thing I've ever seen. Wait, Destiny is doing now what she did to him, I think? Like in public? Debating him in public? You think that there is no discernible difference between NotSoErudite confronting Destiny in public in front of an audience of MAGA voters over the Charlie Kirk situation, over an organization where you're supposed to stand together, over NotSoErudite literally inviting this event on purpose, so then she can invite disagreement on purpose on her platform, which is, no offense intended, way less than the in front of, like, what are you talking about? It's not even close to the same. You are Delulu, okay?
I'm not saying it's the same thing.
It's not the
but
same
like, I
thing.
think there are meaningful differences here, and it's good to explore. Sometimes it's
I agree.
okay for a person to get banned. Yeah.
I think that if we had these meaningful conversations, because to be frank, of all the people that I've talked to, you're the only one that's agreed that it seems like, yeah, the right wing was in large part getting disproportionately nuked. Some of it maybe was justified and some of it maybe wasn't, because for sure, edgy culture got kind of consumed by the right because the left just made it the right wing thing because you're not allowed to be edgy, which is why we got like,
Oh my god.
you're just a right winger,
All right,
right?
dude.
And a lot of people genuinely believe that at the
Aqua.
time, that saying
Good
like
one.
maybe trans people shouldn't be in sports is fundamentally transphobic, and it is only a right wing position, which is what you got nuked over, right? And
Yeah,
so
sure. And I mean, like, there are like
He hella mocked and he's just my rando DJer. Bro, I don't even know who the fuck you are. There are some people who came in here only to stand pickles. Like you guys are probably just like random fucking like DJer friends of him. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm banning all of you guys. Cringe. Like, I don't even know who the fuck you guys are. You guys are like coming in here first time. All right.
adjustments and moving in directions where there are like people that get caught, especially edgy people, especially someone like me is going to get caught in the crossfire
I don't think it was trolling. I just don't get how you could watch Destiny for so long and be so fucking
or
stupid.
whatever the fuck. But like, I'm like a 1%er, right? Like the majority of people aren't getting hit in the same way that I am because the majority of people aren't like insanely fucking edgy in the ways that I am. I think that
Sure.
overwhelmingly, like the movement and cultural direction was overwhelmingly good, right?
I think the left definitely went too far with it. I think it became bad because I think it turned off
agree, went too
moderates.
far. But like overwhelmingly, it was a good direction. Even if we have to correct a little bit, it's way better now. As much as painful as it is to say as a
Morally.
white guy who's graduated it, it's way better now than it was 15 years ago. There's way more inclusion. Like it's like not okay to be outwardly like insanely sexist, homophobic. Transphobia, I guess, is making a big comeback right now. But like for the most part, like the internet's a lot more of an inclusive place. You see more people in different spaces. I think it's like a good thing, right? Broadly speaking.
I think it has been more morally good by and large. The issue is that it also it affected so many moderate people that they now vehemently hate the left, that I think that there has been some major serious consequences, which is why I don't know if I could grant that it was like mostly good. It was morally good. I think it was pretty tactically.
Yeah, he was ODG. Oh yeah, ODG are always a bunch of fucking morons, dude. If there's anything I've learned about ODGG, it's always like the people who watch since the StarCraft days, who are like the most like dumbest, inbred, drooling vegetable, okay? Fucking like 3 extra chromosomes, okay? We're not talking about 1 extra chromosome. We're not talking about like Down syndrome. We're talking about 3 extra chromosomes, okay? Your gender marker is probably like XXXXXXYYYYYYY, okay? That's what your gender marker is, okay? You barely could get out of bed because your leg is so swollen from the amount of cancer, okay? From the amount of cancer that is in your body, all right? That you cannot move out of bed, okay? You're like, oh, fuck, I gotta move my leg out of bed, okay? You are stupid, okay? Your brain runs 24/7 on instinct, horny instinct. This is why you stand Kyla, okay? This is why, all right? You are a moron. You're a moron.
Stupid. It's like the Rachel Notley comparison of like thrusting so many like kind of NDP socialist things into the Albertan zeitgeist before we were ready, that it just basically like now socialists in Alberta are going to be just non-competitive for the next few while, because it left such a bad taste in the mouth of particularly the politically uninformed people who were getting in trouble for saying retard at work, because that was happening.
Sure. So,
and it was happening in a very daily way.
I agree that overall the perception maybe has been bad, but I think that perception is highly like fictitious. I don't think it's as bad. Like, I'm sure you've had conversations with guys, and like, so I'm sure there are people that get in trouble for saying stuff that maybe they could have said 5 or 10 years ago at work. There are huge examples of this.
Yes.
One of the funniest, I say funniest, one of the worst was 2 guys made like this blew up so much in like 10 years ago. 2 guys made like a dongle joke, I think, at some huge tech conference, and the woman behind them took a picture of them and tweeted out, and all 3 of them got fired. It was a huge shit show. And there was a lot of stuff. This is when Jordan Peterson was coming up and all this. There's a lot of stuff about that like wasn't great. But like the average person, like to some extent, wasn't having these huge issues in their personal life. I think the average person was benefiting a lot in their personal life. Mm-hmm. But like if you talk to some average guys, they'll say things like, oh, like I'm really worried about being accused of like being a rapist or being like accused of being a pedophile if they go to a park or something. Like this isn't, I don't think this is really happening in real life.
Wait, hold on. There's actually a really good example for the predicament that Destiny is in right now, okay? Like for example, would you ever concede to an anti-fan who is saying that they claim that you're raped? Like you raped somebody else? Like the thing is that I just don't think you should ever concede that, right? Like if an anti-fan told you that you raped somebody IRL, okay? You raped this random woman IRL, okay? Would you say that, yeah, it would be bad if I fought back against that anti-fan, right? Would anybody say that? Like, for example, if your friend on the side, while that anti-fan is in your presence, okay? While that anti-fan is in your presence, if your friend on the side say, well, Steven, don't you think that, like, fighting back so fiercely against that anti-fan will make them think that you are actually a rapist? You need to be more reconciliatory in order to show them and show your belly in order to make them show that, yeah, in fact, you are not a rapist. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean? This person is the person that's accusing me of rape, right? That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous thing to ask for. Why the fuck? Like, that is a bad friend then, right? If a friend is trying to get you to concede to the fact, to disavow, like, raping people or something like that, that's insane. That's obviously insane. But yeah.
Like,
it's the same thing. Just instead of applying like the anti-fans in like the drama scenario, right? Just apply the same label onto conservatives. Okay, just literally apply the same label to conservatives. The way that they are is that they're just anti-fans. That's it. They literally make up a false reality. So then you have to constantly denounce that reality. You have to constantly engage with that reality. But that shouldn't be where the battle is. The battle should be whether or not we even live in the shared reality, right? The battle shouldn't be, oh, this is their perceived reality, and you should engage with that perceived reality, right?
Get any like past 0.0001%. I think that's like an exceptionally rare thing. But when everybody starts to feel this way, then I feel like we're having to try to like course correct
I don't
against like
know.
a perception.
I feel like I know
isn't
like
mapping onto real. Yeah.
I think I know like 8 or 9 different guys that got like brutally penalized in university, for example, for just like giving like normal conservative, not hateful, not great replacement, not racist, just like pretty normal conservative arguments and takes in university, and had like their grades dropped. They like went through multiple processes to try to like get it reevaluated. Like I knew multiple men that, like, for example, went through this experience, and there was probably some women that
Wait,
just
they
didn't know
gave
them.
an ordinary conservative take and they had their grades dropped?
Yeah.
What?
They went from like they wrote a paper in a class where they were normally getting like A's and B's that was more opinion based, and when they voiced a more conservative opinion, they resulted in like getting like D minuses.
That's interesting. I can't speak to it.
What? Wait, what? Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Which is
I guess
it
like
just did happen, and there is some research on this that like right wing perspectives just like were that this was happening, right? And to reframe
sure.
this,
And I'm sure it was happening, but also like there were also like professors that fuck female students with impunity, or there were like beforehand,
lots of
right? Like,
good
there was a lot
things.
of bad stuff that we're correcting.
sure, but the issue is like this argument that
Also, what are we talking about here, right? I mean, on one hand, we're talking about the conduct of the President of the United States. We're talking about the conduct of the President of the United States, and we're talking about the double standards in this country, right? But on the other hand, you're talking about this one case from this one example from this one university, right? From people who aren't even politicians in power, right? Like, you tell me which one is the equivalent thing here. Even if I were to grant that that is a reality, even if I were to grant that it has in fact happened, does it even matter in the first place if like we're not even talking about the same magnitude, right? So you found this one example of this one professor being a possible dickhead, right? And then it blew up into this big thing. Well, the thing is that like, don't you think that is so much of a much more minor issue in comparison to the crazy fucking shit conservatives are doing and the general moderate perception of the country? Like, don't you think that there is a clear difference there? Okay.
you're like kind of jumping into hasn't been me saying that there weren't wins from all this. I'm saying it also was really bad. We just did do way more cancel culture, particularly towards the right. They did experience it more than us. Some of it is maybe justified. Some of it maybe is not. I don't care about that thing, but they did experience that. And to be honest, the debates that I've been having with people has been, I'm retarded. What are you saying? I'm a MAGA apologist for even
Okay, listen. Okay, if you're bringing that up, you're retarded. Okay, I'm sorry. Erudite, all the love to you, okay? Please don't burn our bridge over this, but you are retarded. You are retarded, okay? You are retarded. You are retarded, okay? You are retarded, okay? Okay.
suggesting
Listen, I say this to Steven too, okay? You get it too,
that the
okay?
right disproportionately experienced this. When it's like, this is obviously true. The issue that we have is, was it justified or not? It's not about whether or not like there was major moral gains socially as a result of like the PCification of things. There was a large amount of moral gains. I think the Me Too movement was by and large a very good movement that got a little bit corrupted at the very end. But I think it was mostly good.
And I think sometimes people are on like what they view as a moral mission, they are quick to kind of like cast aside any like faults or bad things that came as a result of that, which I think is fair to call them out for. But I do think it's important to understand like when people are on like a more moral mission. In the United States, when you get arrested, there's something called habeas corpus. You have to be read charges within a certain time period. They have to let you go. They can't just hold you indefinitely. I don't know the exact details, but like Lincoln, I think suspended habeas corpus for a brief period of time before the Civil War. And I think somebody asked him. The question was like, "Do you think you're going to have regrets about the suspension of habeas corpus?" And I think Lincoln said something along the lines of like, "If I have any regrets by the end of this war, it's that I didn't do this more. It's that I didn't arrest more people or something." And I think that when we look at like where we came from and then the trajectory of where we were going, like we want obviously less people getting raped, we want less sexism, we want less bigotry. Like, are people overzealous? For sure. You don't have to tell me that, obviously. Like there definitely are people that are overzealous, and people need to be like corrected for it and called out for it. But I think it's not fair to say that like, oh well, we've lost the moral high ground because some people corrected for sexism too much. And now for the people that are like genuinely bigoted and sexist, we have to concede some kind of like moral position to them. I just think that like framing is In my mind, I feel like it's not the same.
I just think that this framing is like unfair, essentially, right? Like, were some people like nuked because they were like too sexist and these sort of things? Yeah. Were some people absolutely very drastically impacted because they were culminated into being the thing that wasn't happening? Yes. And I feel like you're somewhat undergirding how serious this issue was, because like you were impacted by it. Multiple left wing, Lindsay Ellis was impacted by this, right? Like people who just like didn't experience.
My strongest, I agree with you. My strongest like empirical example of this, okay, is for the people that were like too snowflakey and wanted to move to the left or whatever.
Yeah.
Like when they tried to make their own platform, what did they get? They got Blue Sky, right?
Yeah.
Blue Sky is like, it's there. It's like kind of cringe, but it's like, it's there and it does its thing. It's whatever. When the people on the right got super ass banged and they wanted to make their own platforms, what the fuck did they do? They got Parler. They got Truth Social. They got the worst, most degenerated, horrible cesspits of human filth that the internet has ever seen. There was a third one. I can't remember. There was Parler was one, and there was another social media platform they're trying to make. But these were the worst places of all like mankind that existed on the internet. And I think that says something for the types of people that are like on a mission to rail against where we are currently. Now, again, I'm not saying that this excuses all the mistakes of one side or the other, but like I feel like the general trajectory of both sides, you can look at it and like, well, what did their extremist platforms look like? Blue Sky is like a harmless, like little cucky, whatever, progressive place. And Parler was like the home of like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and other like radical, like Truth Social and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, the issue, this is true. The issue is that like
Gab, that's the other one.
Gab is the other one, yeah. The issue for me, so one thing I'd concede, probably calling it the moral high ground isn't fair. I think it's less compelling when you say, especially like Tom Fuller just said in my chat, right? When you rewrite it to be like, actually the right wing wasn't getting disproportionately like canceled and like impacted by these things.
Wait, oh my god, wait, you said something about Tom Fuller and then it cut off. Go ahead.
So there's kind of two issues. Did you hear my grant about the moral high ground?
I heard you say something about maybe we shouldn't call it granted moral high ground, and then you said something about Tom Fuller.
Yeah. Okay. So
sorry, I forgot that guy existed. Never heard about that guy for a long while.
I would just grant you that maybe we shouldn't call it the moral high ground. That's probably not good verbiage on my part because I don't know how moral this thing specifically is. However, what I do have an issue with is there is a number of people on the left who were railing against the cancel culture of the left, like Tom Foolery, right? That are now rewriting the history to say conservatives weren't disproportionately affected by this. And it's like, yes, they were. They absolutely were, right? We can go into whether it was justified or not.
Yeah, I think the careful thing is, what does it mean when we say disproportionately affected? That's like a challenging word, right?
Canceled, told that their opinions were bad, pressured out of workplaces. I mean, we had on TikTok.
When I'm thinking of like disproportionately affected, right? So like, would you say that like children in society wear a disproportionately high amount of diapers compared to like young adults and adults?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but
I
like maybe
not because they deserve.
So I gave the example.
What Tom means when he says that. So
yeah, I gave the example of like she didn't even deserve a rape with Sargon of Akkad, right? Which led to him being demonetized and people trying to get his Patreon destroyed as well, so he couldn't have money, which is an obvious attempt to pressure his speech so that he stops talking so that he can't get paid for his speech anymore. This is obviously what it is, right? It's saying this cannot be in the town square. What else is it?
I want to agree with you, but like I'd have to go look at the context, but like I'm pretty sure he was running for office when he said this comment. And I think it was against another elected person. I'm like, you're like begging for.
Oh, it wasn't that she deserved rape. It was that I wouldn't even rape you.
No, yeah, because she complained about something about like women have more. She was complaining about rape culture or something, and then he made a comment because she wasn't attractive or whatever. He's like, oh, well, I wouldn't even rape her or whatever, something like that. It was a dumb joke. It was a joke, but I'm like, you're running for office, right?
True.
Like, if I was running for president, I'm not going to be out here, dropping retard bombs and calling people whatever. Like, obviously, my conduct would be significantly different. The fact that he dropped that was a crazy comment to make. Now, I don't know if that's why he got demonetized 100%.
I still cannot believe, like, to this day, Sargon of Akkad was single-handedly, like, guilty for taking down the entire UKIP party. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that part of, like, Sargon lore? That he took down the fucking party? I don't think... so according to Shirfat Ataku, okay, who had a bridge with Sargon at the time, like a really strong bridge. I think recently they had a falling out, but before they were close friends. Like Sargon before, he used to have I believe it's because he's more online. I think that's why. Like, he's more online, and a lot of members of the UKIP party was traditionalist. Like, they were boomers when it came to technology, and Sargon was like very Gamergate coded, right? For obvious reasons. He was very Gamergate coded, and this is just what I've heard, okay? So I've heard that because he's so Gamergate coded, the older people of UKIP did not like that. They really did not like that, and there was so much drama between Sargon and the older people of the UKIP party that the party essentially collapsed under drama and infighting. So I believe that that is what happened. Obviously, I could be wrong. SFO could be lying. SFO could be misremembering. Sargon could be lying, right? Obviously, all the usual caveats. But that's just what I've heard. And it's funny if true. Let's just put it like that, okay? Funny if true, all right?
But I'm just saying that, like, if he wasn't running for office,
Obviously.
I don't think that comment would have picked up anywhere near that level of traction.
The issue, maybe, I'm not sure if I agree with that, right? My issue is that the stick that the platform is using and the stick that we're using on him, maybe it should shift for us culturally because he's running for office. I don't know if he was at the time, but I'll just grant it for you right now. However, the platform also like caved to that and demonetized him when there are definitely much worse jokes that you have made that I do not believe you were demonetized on YouTube from. Like the shovel rape joke or comment.
Well, that was like in 2015. I don't even know if that was a joke, but that was in 2015. But also, I've been banned from Twitter for like 10 times.
Not Twitter. I said
Right?
YouTube. I think didn't the comment that he make, was it on Twitter?
It might have been on camera. He made it in the context of being
my God,
a
they
person
got him.
running for office against another person who was like an elected official. I don't even know if it matters where he makes the comment. Like, that's going to be like the context of, like, when I say context, I mean like the position that he's trying to occupy. I think it's going to significantly change people's perceived reactions to that, you know?
Okay, let me just check it. Avocado.
Yeah, we should check. I
Run
don't
for
actually
office.
remember 100% where that covered. I thought that was the context of that comment, though. He was running for the UKIP position because the UK had that fucking Leave Party or whatever.
Hold on, it's not coming up quickly for me. Go ahead. Ran for office in 2019.
Holy shit, was it that?
Why was he
said it.
demonetized? So do you think that platforms should be more punitary to a person on their platform if they're running for office than if they're not running for office? Like YouTube.
Do I think they should be? Probably not. I don't necessarily think so. But I mean, like, it's going to increase the likelihood of anything getting caught. Like, I think if I had made my conservative comment or something about like hankies or I don't know or something.
Yeah.
Yo, Carnix. Wait, is that Carnix from the server? Carnix hat. Thank you so much for the one for subbing on Kick. Thank you. I appreciate that. Very nice. Thank you.
I don't know. I think I'd be really, really irked about getting demonetized on YouTube. But like, I understand like the huge like national spotlight and attention on everything now, and the context and everything, right? When I'm getting so much attention and everything, it makes more sense why it would happen there. Not that I
Sure,
still
yeah.
think
So as long as
it's
there's
still
like,
stupid to get demonetized, but like, I understand the context.
yeah, I understand the context too. So like my issue would be that like there.
You deserve money. I'm not doing it through YouTube. No, it's better to donate via Kick. Just mainly because like Kick will, Kick will give me a bigger share. However, YouTube, the problem with YouTube, well, the thing is that with YouTube, there's at least integrated YouTube memberships, which will mean you have a cool shiny name on the Discord server. Okay. But obviously, if you want to support me, even better, you can, donating via Kick is obviously the better choice. But hey,
was a lot of
Thank you.
fervor from like especially 2016 to 2020. There was a lot of energy to going loud and screaming at platforms, screaming at movies, right? Remember that like girl who got like banned from like Mandalorian or whatever because she was like maybe a little bit like anti-Semitic or something like that, right? Getting people's jobs removed, getting their workplaces doxxed, all these sorts of things. There was like a massive amount of fervor on the left for this type of behavior for people that we like viewed as like problematic in some way. And I think that this was bad and disproportionately targeted the right because I think at the time the platforms were willing to like cater more to the left, maybe because it was louder. There's probably complex reasons reasons as to why that
I'd rather give YouTube less money after deplatforming Steven. That's fine. Yeah, that's fair.
was the case, which they are
It's a
now
protest, right?
catering
Yeah.
to the right, and is the same system is getting used. And I don't think people just being loud enough about it.
So this is the only part of the framing that I don't like. You say the same system is being used.
Oh, he
So the
made
reason
that
I
wouldn't
gave
even
those, like,
rape you
examples-
comment in 2016, just as a heads up. So it was like years later that he got demonetized. If it
Oh,
was
that's
for
the case,
that.
then he didn't get demonetized for that then, right?
Yeah, now I don't know what he got demonetized for. It could have just been
Interesting.
enough
Okay, well,
people
that might be
mad at
important
him.
too,
I have
right?
no idea. Yeah.
Because the only other like huge Patreon
actually-
attack that I
that's
remember
actually
was
interesting.
the Lauren Southern stuff, and she was like firing flares at immigrants in the fucking ocean, right? So I mean, like,
Yeah.
I feel like these things are. I can understand like where all of the
Oh my god,
It's
you
not
can
about the
turn this
justification,
mini boss,
right? I understand. I never
boss
said
into a
it,
sheep?
right?
well, but it's also
So
the mechanism
based.
is also different too. Like
Oh,
again,
dude,
like
this-
I said, for the
this
Bud
fight
Light
is
stuff,
easy.
and for the
Oh my
for the other
god.
like the woke go broke this
Oh,
stuff. Like I think people on the left
based.
don't really care when conservatives do this. That's fine.
Just by the way, notice how like this talking point was brought up. Like, okay, so maybe this is like being demonstrated in real time, and maybe this is a better way for me to explain this. Like just notice here how NotSoErudite is engaging off of a perceived reality or a false reality that is essentially created. By the maybe by the conservatives. At least for the record, this may or may not be misinformation. If it is the case that it is misinformation, that he has been banned off of this comment that was made a long time ago, and he wasn't actually banned for that, but he was banned for something else, don't you think that maybe this is a statement that you've been engaging with fake shit this entire time? You've been engaging with a false reality this entire time. How are you okay with that? Like, I would, if I was lied to this entire time and my SO was actually been cheating on me for like years. What is that? Does that mean the cheating has not happened? If I just choose to ignore it? I mean, you can make esteem for you don't know. Like if you like, can't you just kind of make the argument that, hey, you know, as long as you don't like like ignorance is bliss. I think that's silly, but yeah, I don't know. Like obviously ignorance is not bliss, right? Like fuck.
Oh, hey, what's up?
My
Yeah.
Steam is down. Okay,
I'm just letting this.
then it's probably down for me. I don't know. I don't care.
Sorry, hold on one second.
Whatever.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think that
Also, I never
the
said that it
mechanism-
happened, right? I said this stuff about Sargon of Akkad because Hobbit brought up that joke. He looked into this.
Oh, sure.
We're just getting it. It sounds like he said it in 2016. It got brought up again when he was running, which is why he got demonetized. So he didn't even get demonetized because of the statement originally. It's because enough fervor of the crowd, which was left angled against right, which I think there just was way more fervor for left to right cancelization. There's entire TikTok channels just dedicated to that, particularly when I started up in this
I
space.
understand, but like
Wait, hold on. You don't think that there's a problem here? Wait, this is flabbergasting to me. Does NotSoErudite realize that maybe there is a problem here in the fact that maybe
You wish to see your father's domain, do you?
yes, Kronos. Yeah, but the thing is, like, don't you think that there's a problem here that you've been engaging with a false reality this entire time?
Splendor of your father's
Like, I can't believe she moved on from this so fast. Like, if I personally, like, realized that I've been engaging with misinformation, I would do a double take, right? I would be like, oh, well, wait, hold on, fuck, right? Like, oh, that's not good.
when you say there's more fervor, like does that make sense? Like what would have been like what could have been equivalent in the other direction?
Like, this is a good demonstration of the double standards, right? Because when it comes to conservatives and misinformation or disinformation, she moves on so fast, right? Notice how fast NotSoErudite moves on from it. She moves on from it immediately, right? She doesn't even address the fact that the conservatives did something wrong, right there, right? There's no acknowledgement. There's no going like, oh my god, they might be like fucking spreading misinformation. Who the fuck knows, right? However, if the left did something like that, do you think she would move on in the same speed, at the same way, in the same way with the same vibes? I don't know. I don't think that's the case. Lots of people wouldn't do that as the case, right? That'd be insane. So why do we hold these two to different standards? That's insane.
Like what do you think? Like if the right was exercising the same amount as the left, what do you think the right would have gone after?
I'd have to look at like what was said by left people in that time. I went like, when did Hassan say like deserve 9/11 stuff?
Hassan wasn't even a streamer until like 2019, right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it to like give up a comparable example. The issue is I can't think of a comparable example where a left-wing person says something really bad years ago, it gets brought up, and then it gets like they get like completely nuked and like demonetized. The closest I can think to would be somebody again doing something more right-wing, like making an edgy joke, because unfortunately edginess has been consumed by the right.
Well, hold on. Well,
Them.
but that kind of makes sense, right? It would be harder. I mean, we can think of some examples of this. So James Gunn, for instance, got nuked off of.
Yeah, but I'm not saying whether it's justified or unjustified or good or bad. I'm saying that
but I'm saying like
happens.
that's like sure. I'm saying that like if somebody had like a crazy right wing belief when they were younger, and then when they're older, they're on the left.
Erudite is going down the Anna Kasparian road, sympathizing with the right, the changes in its early stages. Oh, the fact that I can't even refute that, like I feel like I can't tell you for sure that you're wrong. Like I can only have a guess that you're wrong here, right? Like I can, the best thing I can give you is that I'm guessing that you're wrong or incorrect about this. But, I mean, yeah, it is a little bit in line with the way that Anna was talking about things, but who the fuck knows? I don't know. And the way that Anna and Chink were talking about it, I don't know.
And you're like, well, nobody got canceled for that. Well, that makes sense because they've changed positions. But if you've got a right wing belief growing up and then you got canceled for the same right wing belief when you get older.
But we know that this happened, right? Like we know that people. So in the case of what's her fucking name, Jenna Marbles, an old video from years ago of her saying some racist joke. I don't know what it was. Some sort of racist joke. It came out later in life. She made an apology and said like it was wrong and I'm a different person now. But she still got canceled. And people were doing this all the time. They were going back like 10, 20 years to find like bad, edgy things that they had said.
I don't know for Jenna Marbles. I don't think that really happened. It could be wrong on that, but. Like there was stuff that because she was kind of like edgy or said some stuff when she was younger, but I don't think once she kind of like came back and made her career, I don't know if she got like re-canceled for anything. There might have been stuff that gets brought up every now and then, but I don't think she got like
she stopped her career.
Canceled a second.
She stopped making YouTube content.
Well, right? Yeah, she did it the first time, but that was because of I don't think
I don't even remember.
I don't think once she came back to her career, I don't think she's ever been canceled. Like I think she quit after I don't know if it was right after the IDub stuff or a little bit after. I just made that video on her, and she went on a little bit longer. But I think she quit, and then she came back a few years later, several years later. But I don't think she's like stopped after that.
Sure.
People were saying she left over Fish. I don't know what the fuck Fish is. But
and again, we can get into some of the justifications. I think a lot of the left's justifications for like the cancel behavior that they did was bad, and I think some of the justifications were good. The issue is that people are even disagreeing with me that it happened disproportionately to the right, which it just obviously did. The issue is that because the right wears diapers more.
I understand it did. Yeah, it did. But what I'm trying to understand is like, do we think that it shouldn't have?
Well, I
just
sort
of like the left.
Yeah. I know that you want to move it in that direction. The issue is with your community right now that I've been fighting with, we're getting stuck at, did it even happen? And it's like, it obviously did. It obviously did, and it was just more directed at the right. This is obviously true. And if you're the issue is people calling me fucking retarded for this. And it's
my god, I'm thinking of Anna Mongu. Sorry, I had the wrong person.
Okay. Jenna canceled herself. So she made an apology video and then she stopped making content. But she stopped making content for a number of reasons, but in large part because of like the level of like fervor and anger that she had at her. I don't think she could track it anymore.
I would be surprised if, I haven't listened to all of these conversations going on, but I was surprised if my community is saying that nobody on the right got canceled or banned or whatever a long time ago. I feel like
they're not saying nobody. That's not what I said though. I said that the right was disproportionately affected by this. And they're saying that's not true.
Disproportionate word is, well, I would say that probably wasn't true, but it depends on where were we applying disproportionate at.
As in numbers, total numbers.
Yeah, but we would never apply proportionality like that in any other circumstance, I think, right? Like the proportionality shouldn't be like, it's the same percentage of people being held accountable for a thing. It should be.
They can make that argument. They can make that argument, but right now the total numbers is also being argued, which it shouldn't be. Because I can't litigate every single justification of every single cancellation because I don't know all the cancellations and all of them. I'm sure some are justified and some are not. My issue that I'm pointing out to start off with is the right wing was disproportionately affected by this, which means that they were probably disproportionately affected by both justified and unjustified cancellations, and they feel.
It's okay. It's not a question of like. Okay, hold on. It's not a question of. It's not a question of who is more affected by cancellations or not, right? Like it's not a question of how often does it happen to one side. It's a question of How is it done? How is it done? Social pressure? Private companies deplatforming their own side or their own users? Yeah, that's fine. That's how life works. That's how life works. Okay? Mass criticism, anti-fan behavior, that's just kind of a reality of the situation, right? But I think it's disingenuous to compare that with government mandated cancellations. Because on one hand, we have government mandated cancellations, all right? As in like we're gonna cancel your life now, like that kind of shit, right? As opposed to what? As opposed to social pressure, boycotts of products, private platforms willing to protect their reputation. Yeah. Foodshops, she's retarded because she doesn't realize that conservatives didn't even get canceled for being conservative, but something unrelated to being conservative. Sure, yeah. Are you talking about Sargon?
Big feelings as a result of that, because it would be very annoying if your side was constantly getting
Yeah, but the
nuked.
big problem is that, sure, but the big problem is they don't feel big feelings about being unjustifiably nuked. They feel big feelings about what we would call on our side justifiable nukes. I think that's the big issue, right? Is
Well,
their issue isn't like, I can't believe there are people that got banned because they incorrectly said something about, like the YouTube algorithm identified it incorrectly. They would say, I can't believe we got banned for speaking the truth about ivermectin and COVID.
I'm just not trying to justify their feelings. I'm saying that they are wrong and that way more right wingers got canceled.
Oh man.
And some of it was justified and some of it was not.
If we're talking about reacting to their feelings, then we are in a way justifying their feelings, right?
Of your community?
No, or wait, I thought you were talking about right wingers. You said they have big feelings about it, or did you mean my community has big feelings about it?
Oh, okay. I think Destiny is bringing up a different point here, right? Like he's saying that one is being reactive and the other one is being proactive, right? Proactive is like you going out to do something. Reactive is like you reacting to something, right? Because one is defensive, the other one is attack, right? I think that's what he's talking about. Yeah. This fish actually start reacting to God. Nice. Good alt account. Torquey Tom. Good one.
Yeah, I'm not justifying their feelings necessarily, right? I am saying that they definitely did receive a large amount of cancellation, more than the left did, and we can probably find a number of examples where they got canceled when a left winger didn't, and we can't find super good examples of multiple left wingers getting the same level of cancel energy directed at them, despite like much worse things.
Well, that you added that ending part, and that's what I don't agree with. I don't think there were a whole bunch of left wingers that like I'm just trying to think of like who are all these left wingers that should have been canceled that weren't, like, or what is the behavior that we think like was sliding under the radar or something.
Edgy jokes probably is some of these things, right? Saying like really politically like insane things like that we should take away people's like public property, for example, or that like maybe like terrorism is like
okay. Wait, come on. We should take away people's public property is going to be on
Private
the same
property.
level as saying that like, I don't know if that's like you think people should have been like kicked off platforms for that?
Nope, I don't. But there isn't even a conversation about what the left should be kicked off for. But there are obviously things that the left does.
But that's what I'm trying to like. I think there's some stuff now that like for Hassan saying like, there's stuff now that's being said.
I think you and your cancellations are a great example of
yeah, but I've been banned from so many platforms so many times, so I feel like I got hit the appropriate amount of times. I've been banned more than most right wingers have. So
do you think that your
I just don't think
bans were justified and were the right stick at the right time?
I mean, for some of them, yeah. I mean, I think my Twitch ban was kind of bullshit, at least for permanent. But like,
we have people saying like kill landlords, kill landlords.
Bro, for Destiny to be downplaying his own bans is kind of crazy. Huh. Bro actually just moves on and forgives everyone, like unironically. Like he is actually downplaying his own ban. And I think I remember my position on that was it was completely unjustified. That it was unfair that he got banned, right? Because Twitch has double standards. So it is unjustified because Twitch has double standards. Right? You have like people who are adjacent to Hassan who are constantly advocating for violence who get like 1 day slap on the wrists, right? But meanwhile you have Destiny who is like fully permanently banned. Right? So yeah, like he downplays his own ban. He shouldn't do that. I don't know. 400 watching and dead chat, interesting. Oh yeah, no, don't worry, I'm botting. Yeah, I am botting. Yep, I'm botting. Yep.
Landlords,
Yeah, I think that's
kill all white men.
Yes, now. But that wasn't
No,
like
like
necessarily
2019, 2020.
not that wasn't. I don't think that was as common a talking point.
Well, it just
I don't think most
should have been maybe bannable.
Sure, I think that there are definitely. I think that it would be hard to go back and okay. Here's a basic question, I guess. Do you think that if we were to upgrade everything on this
400 who rated. Wait, does the count even like count? Like, do people watching on DGG even like contribute to the YouTube? No, it's not the YouTube count. They're watching on Kick, so it's a bunch of people who has my stream on in the background. 100%. Yeah, it's probably a bunch of people who are like, yeah, to Kick viewers, sure, but I think that for YouTube, I think it's a bunch of people listening to it in the background. I think that's what's going on. Yeah.
same level of like this is good, this is bad, whatever. If we would grade
Unless someone
everything
is botting
fairly,
me.
do you think that? And then we had an ultimate content moderator god to catch every single thing that somebody had said or done. Do you think that?
Bro, dude, I give up on trying to analyze like fucking viewer count, okay? Because on one hand, it's like, oh, you know what people are watching? People are watching like my coverage on the like people are rewinding the VOD to watch my coverage on the core order doc shit. That's what they were. That's what they're watching. Yes, okay, I understand what's going on now, because Destiny stream ended afterwards. So after Destiny stream ended, they rewinded, and then they were like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back and see what's going on there. Yeah, you're the background every night. Thank you, love it. Oh, I appreciate that, Kenjiki. Thank you. I appreciate like whatever lurker comes out for just a moment to say, wow, I've been listening to you every night. That's fucking awesome. Okay, great stuff. I'm a bot. I'm plowing your mom like a machine. Well, yeah. Just, by the way, it's like really, it's not easy to bot on YouTube in the way that you think it is. Because I think on Twitch before the whole purge, it's easier because there's not really that much repercussions for it. But I think that with YouTube, you fuck up your algorithm when you do that. Like, you fuck up your algorithm when you bot. Like, when you bot, you're fucking up your algo. You're fucking up your channel, right? Any videos that you post is being fucked by the corrupted data or like completely inaccurate data, right? So, yeah, it's generally not a good idea to bot on YouTube. So that's like a natural aversion to something like that, yeah.
The same number of right-wing and left-wing people proportionally, you think the same number would have been banned?
No, I think the right would probably catch more bans.
Okay, so I think they would disagree, and I think that's like the issue. That
That your audience would disagree that the right would catch more bans if the like a perfect
the right would
moderation
disagree,
god?
and it sounds
of course.
like
Of course the right would
it sounds like
disagree.
you're saying that it should have been like equal or it would have been equal.
Nope, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Okay, that's what it sounded like you were implying earlier because of the proportionality.
what it started as is me saying right-wing people have just been canceled more. They just have been.
Yeah.
Unquestionably.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And people are disagreeing with me on that.
Okay.
right? That's like the starting point. I think that Destiny needs to get to the heart of this, right? The heart of this is, at the end of the day, it is, you have the president of the United States, like, canceling people. We're not just talking about bans. Like, we're, like, dude, he's, hold on. He's writing executive orders. He's writing executive orders to go after law firms who has had lawyers who went against him in a lawsuit as revenge. Okay? We're not close. This is not the same. It's not, please, it's not the same. It's really not the same.
If we
Please.
can't even, right, if we can't even agree with that, I don't know what to do. Like, there's
No, I agree with that. Like the thing is that hold on. What is she talking about specifically here? Is she talking about who is being banned or canceled more? The problem is that it validates what right always say, and they don't mean it the same way she does. Yeah, sure. Yeah. You're also creating and perpetuating an environment where the right can feel like they can do whatever they want, and they can just simply rely on NotSoErudite to do apologism for them, right? I don't know. I'm just saying, okay? Like, people like NotSoErudite to do apologism for them. Like, I wouldn't say that, like NotSoErudite isn't doing much herself, I would say, in the grand scheme of things. I don't think so. Like, at all, right? Like, when I was arguing with Pickles, like, for example, I don't think that she in totality is, like, doing much herself. I really don't think so, okay? However, what I think is important is when yeah. Well, yeah, what I think is important is the fact that, like, it just comes down to how you do it, okay? Like, again, if you cancel someone using fucking presidential powers, that's insane. That's just unhinged. Jimmy Kimmel? Like, I can't believe we already forgot about that. How did we forget about that already? Like, that's just insane how much we forgot about that.
No starting point to talk about this. Then we could go into when it's justified and when it's not. I suspect that the right wing caught way more unjustified bans as well, which would explain some of their anger and frustrations.
What percentage of their anger or frustration? Or what are we calling unjustified? That's that part.
Unjustified would be what we decide upon later, right? Once we can agree that the right caught more, then we can go to the conversation of when it is justified or not. But if we can't even agree that the right caught more.
No, I understand you said that. I'm just saying you keep adding that part of like some of their feelings are coming from the unjustified bans. But that's not my perception. I don't think their feelings are coming from the unjustified bans. I think their feelings are coming from bans that people would say were justified.
I mean, it's probably
like
coming
the right wing,
from
the policy changes that the right wing are celebrating are the fact that there are no more bans anywhere for like COVID misinformation. They think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. I imagine I'm not waiting on the right to necessarily say what would be justified or not. The issue is that we would have to agree on what's justified, and something like kill all landlords, we can all probably agree is not justified on the left, right? Which wasn't getting capped in the way that like.
Hold on. Careful. How many people on the left, and in which context, was saying we should kill the landlords? How many people were saying that, and what kind of person was saying that? I can only think of one group of people that's saying that. That is the Marxist-Leninists, the Tinkies. The Tinkies are the ones that are advocating for that. Hassan Piker was the one advocating for that years ago, all right? Not the President of the United States, not Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, like... Okay, all right. We have to understand what the context is, okay?
Great Replacement was, which I think both of these things are really bad.
Yeah, I would agree that both of those things are.
Yeah, so if the justification.
Bad. Okay. I think that Destiny. I think Steven can come up with some better points here. Okay, but maybe he's gonna lead up to it. I think Steven's probably gonna lead up to it, right? I think around there, she's like almost solely responsible for managing the canvassing events and currently does work with UFA and even the DNC. She is an asset. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the overall impact on the discourse that she has in terms of perpetrating the double standards poisoning. I'm not talking about her impact on organizing canvassing events or something. He's trying to be so nice. Oh, Erudite can handle it. Why couldn't Erudite handle it? They literally scream at each other on a WIC TV panel, calling each other fucking retarded. Like,
stick isn't being applied equally to each groups. Yeah. That's a big issue as well. And what I'm saying is the right wing caught more, and I am saying I suspect it's quite likely, since they caught more, that they also caught more unjustified bans, which they have big feelings about all of the bans, but the feelings about the unjustified bans are fair because we would agree that they were.
No. Hold on, you misunderstand. I'm not saying that Steven should go harder. Like, I'm not saying Steven should go harder. He should bring up some other points. Some other points that get to the core of the issue, right? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So no, I'm not talking about like I'm not talking about he should go harder, stop treating her with kids gloves. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there are some other points that he could bring up, right?
Were unjustified. And if they caught more
but
of them, they're going to be very angry about this, right? Especially when the
that's
left
not why
caught.
they're angry. Like if you got rid of all of the unjustified bans, their anger would go from like 100% to like 99%.
Yeah, but then the
Should've gone
moderates would
harder?
have
Okay.
a way less things to sink their teeth
Maybe.
into when they point to left-wing cancel culture, right?
Yeah, but real life moderates don't, like people that are looking at things with an honest lens are not sinking their teeth into those things. They're going like, oh yeah, that sucks, but it really doesn't change the argument much at all.
Yeah, but it's really unfortunate when they have multiple examples of unjustified bans.
No, not really at all. It doesn't impact that whatsoever.
How-
Like if we were to find out that Jenna
How not?
Simpson actually called her husband like a big piece of shit doo-doo and she was going to break his big TV, I don't think anybody fair would never, that wouldn't move the needle. Like, oh, fuck, okay, I understand why I killed her. Maybe it wasn't, the worst thing in the world. Like that's not moving the needle at all.
For the moderates?
Like if there might have been, no, I don't think so. The moderates aren't seeing reality. The moderates are seeing what conservatives are showing them. And what conservatives are showing them are that every single one of the conservatives are being banned unfairly because it's not because they're being banned for misinformation. They're being banned for the truth. Conservatives aren't upset because they got banned for COVID misinformation or because there were unjust bans. They feel like they got banned because the Jews or the deep state or whoever's controlling all of social media was trying to suppress the truth that COVID was either fake or the deadliest disease ever and that the vaccines were fake or the deadliest things ever. That's what they got actually mad about.
Yeah, but the issue is that if they were also feeling like they were getting their speech staunched at school or at work because they were like making too edgy of a joke, all of this gets lumped together in a Gordian knot, which is fucking stupid. But this was also all happening too. And so again, there are certain justified bans that I will just stand by, and most moderates will stand by. Most moderates will be like, yeah, the JQ shit's kind of crazy. But when the moderate person, especially who says retard, is getting pressured at work, is worried that they like might become the main character of the week, I think that that's really bad. And I think it's a really bad thing. That was often the energy of canceling the.
Hold on. I want to question Erudite's reality here. How often is that even happening? Some person at work saying the word retard and them like losing their job. How often does that happen? Or is she engaging with the reality that, again, the Republicans are showing her? Because I'm going to tell you this right now, I have said the word retard at work, at the office. Okay? Like, I've called things retarded when I was still coding, doing a coding job. Okay? When I was at my desk, retarded coding job. Okay? Working as a back-end cloud engineer or whatever, right? Yeah. I don't know how often does this even happen? Like, are you using the reality that conservatives are giving to you, or what? Like, yeah, what? Huh? I've literally seen sexual harassment and nobody gives a fuck. Yeah. I've had a coworker come up to me and talk about how another coworker is like sexually harassing her. Okay? And she's worried that nobody will do anything about it. Huh?
These types of people was coming from the left. It certainly wasn't the right
You sure
trying to.
Like, if anything, people aren't punished enough for sexual misconduct in the office. Like, if anything, I feel like that is the real thing. Or that's going on, right? Sexual harassment in the office is insanely common. Insanely common. It's not even close. Yeah. I hope your week is going well so far. Thank you, Alex. Yeah. You must have looked so cool in the office food. Just look the same. I was just wearing a jacket. That's it.
Cancel
I was playing Pink Floyd while coding.
people for saying retard. So I agree that the right was like probably received a lot more justified bans as well and staunching of their speech. The issue is that for the moderate experience, this cancel culture bled so extensively that it was impacting their day-to-day life where they didn't feel like they could say some things. And now they can capitalize, the conservatives can capitalize on that genuine sentiment that was driven from the left and use that to peddle like insane shit, which is.
But they're already doing this, though. They're already doing this. It's not like whether or not you do it or not does not even matter to them. Like, they make everything into the worst thing possible anyway. Like they will amplify the most like fringest of issues, and it still wouldn't even amount to like a single fraction of what the right does or what the president does, right? Like it still doesn't even amount to anything close to what I'm talking about, right? Like we're not even like we don't even live in the same reality. Like the media is under the control of right-wingers right now. Like we don't live. This is not, it's not equal.
This is the dankest dungeon.
Illuminator, thank you so much for subbing again on Kick. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Again, if we just did, if they didn't have that, we would be in a much better position. If moderates hadn't felt afraid to say retard or to like make edgy like sexism jokes or race.
You know what I think? I think that a lot of people weaponize the line of like, oh yeah, like don't you think that you're advocating for like ignoring the moderates? I think that I need to change my rhetoric a little bit. Not because I'm changing the actual fucking not because I'm changing the actual action, but I'm changing the wording. Because I would actually say, oh, this is so cute. Oh, this is so adorable. Like I would actually argue that if you are edgy and if you hold a mirror up to the moderates, you could be jolting them. You could be jolting them into realizing that they've been living under ridiculous double standards the entire time, right? Because just simply pointing out the hypocrisy is not enough, right? Because we've been pointing out the hypocrisy for years. However, if you jolt them enough and you shock them enough with like fucking defibrillators or some shit, or with like electric shock therapy, right? You could wake them up to the truth. And that is fixing the actual issue. That is not trying to capture the vote, not just capturing the vote for the next election. That is not, this is like fixing the soul of the country. I believe that is, like, I'm not just ignoring the moderates. I'm prescribing a cure to the moderates, okay? A cure, okay? It's like a treatment of some kind, okay? Poison, that's an extreme word, okay? Okay. It's medicine. All right, sorry. Foodshops, we aren't trying to convince the right. We are trying to mobilize more of the moderate left. That's right. And anti-Trump righto is according to NSC. Yeah, sure. I would generally agree with that. It's not like I don't disagree with that. I agree with that. Okay, but again, it's all about the methodology, right?
Sexism jokes, that we would be in a better position.
Why not
Whoa,
just like
she's
gaslight
hot.
them and call them crazy?
What the fuck? She's actually hot.
The
reason why I
moderates?
don't really believe these complaints from moderates, yes, the reason why I don't believe these complaints is that like anytime a black person complains about racism, anytime a woman complains about sexism, the go-to argument is always, oh, well, this person's crazy, that never happened, they call everything this or that or blah, 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 blah. And then people move on from it. And I think that there are people in those categories that have like a lot more legitimate complaints. The conservatives who are saying that like, oh my God, I'm worried I'm going to be randomly charged with a rape because I looked at a woman at work wrong.
No, they're
So I don't know
worried
why the
that they're
moderates take the complaints from the right so much, but like from the left, they're like, oh, well, these things are all fictitious, and I believe everything the right says about their complaints.
I think the moderate is definitely, if the right starts in quotes, so when did the moderate start hating the right? When they started pushing church into all of their spaces and telling them that they couldn't say the word like God's name in vain, and starting to like shove their personal predilections down the throats of the moderates that are stupid, just trying to work and take care of their kids. And I think the left did that dominantly from 2016 to 20. Like, I'm sure the right tried to, maybe at times, but the main pressure that moderates would have experienced, absolutely. And the reason that they would care about it is because they're selfish, because it personally affected them.
And how is that going? Because the thing is that you're saying as if that has stopped. You're talking about it as if this is like, as if the conservatives have stopped advocating for ridiculous things to imprint onto moderates, right? But that's not true. They have not stopped, right? Lately, they've been trying to push Texas legislature in order to mandate Bible teachings and to mandate the 10 Commandments to be put in every single Texas kid's classroom, okay, and to be taught, I believe, right? Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Why aren't the moderates talking about it? Why aren't the moderates being off-put by it? Because I don't think that is how moderates work, right? I don't think moderates being confronted with something ridiculous is going to change their mind, okay? Because otherwise, they would have already been persuaded by the actions that Trump has taken by now, okay? They have the internet, they have Google, okay? The problem is that they selectively use media environments that call themselves moderate so that they can continue to define themselves as moderates, even though in all actuality, if you go down to their core beliefs or something, or the legislation that they support, or which party they would vote for, they would overwhelmingly vote Republican or overwhelmingly vote Libertarian, right? It's not close. I believe that what is reality to them is whatever is the easiest to manipulate them, right? If they're manipulated enough, then therefore they can be convinced, okay? Because they are shown the reality that they want to believe, or that they choose to believe at the very least, okay? Just manipulate the media environment. That is the entire point. And in order to do that, you have to shock them. You have to fucking use the cattle prod, all right? That's why. Because guess what? The entire time for the last like 10 years, 6 years, what, it doesn't matter, all right? Yeah, all we've been doing is pointing out the hypocrisy. How many times have you heard, well, they would never let Obama get away with this. Well, they would never let Joe Biden get away with this. How many times have we heard that? It's not like it's something new, right? It's something that's ancient, that's old, right? It's old. It's old shit. Yeah. Maybe the issue is the left replaced debate with deplatforming and canceling, and now no one knows left's talking points. I reject that just mainly because I don't think the right is the same. Like, for example, when the right says, oh, I want to debate people, it's typically, I want to smurf college students. I want to talk and have discussions with people while they handle me with kids' gloves, okay? However, I have seen instances of the right advocating for violence, advocating for canceling people, advocating for crazy shit, all right? So even you saying the left wants to replace debate with deplatforming and canceling, that is the view that conservatives want you to believe. That is the reality that conservatives want you to, like, live in. They want you to live in a reality where way more conservatives are, like, deplatformed or destroyed, or lefties or like Democrats do not appreciate arguing. Meanwhile, if you look at every single Democratic politician, literally all of them, not a single one of them advocates against the First Amendment in a way where they're like, oh yeah, we can't debate, we can't talk, right? How many of them advocate as well for debating the right, debating right-wing people? We can even talk about the recent election. Kamala Harris had to drag Donald Trump screaming by the hair in order to get to the debate podium. Donald Trump, okay, in line to become the leader of our nation, to protect the sacred First Amendment, to be a leading example in protecting the First Amendment, had to be dragged screaming and kicking to the debate podium with Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris had to advocate for practicing the First Amendment so much harder than Donald Trump in order to pressure him to do that, okay? So even then, the recent example does not play out in your favor, okay? Do you see now how this is the reality that Republicans want to show you? But you forgot about that. How did you forget about Kamala Harris doing that? How did you forget about all these Democratic politicians advocating for free discourse and free marketplace of ideas? You forgot about that because the Republicans want you to forget about that, okay? You live in the Matrix. You are a bot, all right? I love you though, okay? I know you watch me.
Yeah, but then I mean, then I think that the only thing that needs to change is like the messaging to show that the right is lying about a lot of this stuff. I think I don't think like if you when you take the position of like I need to purify like everything on my side so much so that every single thing is beyond criticism or beyond reproach. One, that's just never going to happen. It's always going to be impossible. You're always
Is that my position though?
Well, when your position is saying like, well, the moderates have something to sink their teeth into. No, The moderates, you're looking for something, you're being shown something if that's what you're sinking your teeth into.
Not if
Because
their
the
daily
idea that
life, they have experienced it, right? And they understand that feeling of being
their daily
canceled.
life, that's not true. I don't believe that the daily life of most people is getting canceled for calling somebody retarded. I don't believe that.
Okay, by canceled, if we're including things like socially ostracized, being pulled into HR and told that they're not allowed to do it, yes, moderates are being affected. And to everyone who's saying that's a vibe, yeah, moderates who are uninformed on politics are fucking stupid. It's all fucking vibes all the way through. Sorry.
I don't, but it's not, regardless of vibes, I just don't like even in the places that I work, like if I would have called a coworker like a retard in front of like a customer, I would have gotten shouted at by my supervisor. And this is in fucking Nebraska, Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Oh no, this is so sad. I know. It really is a little bit depressing. This is just, yeah, no, I know. It's fucking, this is like a big fucking, it's like the biggest fucking massive penis black pill is being shoved down my throat right now. Just think of the most, dildo shaped, the biggest dildo shaped penis black pill being shoved down my throat, okay? This is what this entire debate is, yes.
Where are all these work environment?
Okay.
I don't believe this.
Yeah.
I think that these are things conservatives are saying, and they're telling people to feel this way, and so people are vibing with it.
I am taking in non-consensual BBC, okay? This is BBC rape right down my throat, okay?
But what work environment are we in where we're casually shouting retard at people and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe HR nailed me on this one. Even 20 years ago, I feel like you would have got in trouble for that, no?
It's going to be anywhere that's, I still to this day, when I enter more left social spaces, you're held hostage by the most politically correct person, right? Where you say retard.
Oh yeah, guys, just a reminder, okay? You guys should join my Discord server. We have an awesome server. We have a great community, okay? Discord.gg/foodshops. Thank you. Yeah, please consider joining my Discord server. Thank you. All right, that's it. Bye.
And they'll be like, ooh, I don't know about that. It's
okay, not bye. I'm still here. I'm
shifting
sorry.
back,
Not like that.
which is good right now. It's shifting back for all of the worst fucking reasons, though. But yes, you would.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
everyone
that's
has experienced being socially held
sick
hostage
lie?
to the most PC person, and the issue is that threat had teeth because people can go to your HR. Was it the daily experience that if somebody said retard, they just immediately re-reported to HR? No, but they were seeing it on social media. They were hearing about their friends happening it. I already told you, I know 8 different people at university alone who experienced this. Right? I just do, and so this was impacting people's personal lives.
Sorry.
I feel like it's a matter of what you put focus on, because you're always being held hostage by people in your social group in terms of what you can or can't say. There's never ever been this is the ultimate anarcho free speech socialist group where everything goes. Everybody always has some shit that they get irritated about or stuff that you can't bring up for whatever reason.
But that's not what I'm talking about. Right?
You're making it sound like when the left won the culture war, that now that people can't say retarded, people were getting either HR'd or they were getting kicked out of their social groups.
No,
I think language.
No, that's not a genuine
reframe.
Well, that's not a framing of what I said. Did I say?
Okay, I completely didn't understand. Or what my reframe was. What do you think I just said?
Okay, it does sound like Destiny is on the verge of tears. I'm not gonna lie. This isn't meant as a snarky comment or anything like that. It does sound like Destiny is on the verge of tears. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's it. That's all I'm saying. It's an observation, nothing more. Okay.
And you thought that you didn't say?
It seems like you're saying that people are running around screaming retard at their boss, right? I'm not saying that they're screaming retard at their boss at work. I'm not saying these things.
I didn't say boss. I said coworkers.
Sure. Okay.
Go ahead.
Coworkers. Okay. I'm not saying that they're running around doing all this stuff.
Probably walking
right?
while
What
on
I'm
the phone.
saying
Yeah, sure.
is that there was unquestionably driven from the left a zeitgeist around how you can talk and think and speak, and things like edgy humor, anything that was perceived as racist or transphobic, or all these things absolutely impacted people. And this type of zeitgeist.
Did he just fart? Oh my God! Destiny just let loose methane. What the fuck?
That encouraged the behavior where we would maybe
one.
Socially get weird, all the way to getting poor grades suddenly for conservative opinion, all the way to getting called into HR, which didn't happen often. I don't think it happened all of the time, right? But I think it did happen, right? That this whole capture of culture was driven.
Crying and shitting. Shut up, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy that she's bringing up all these old points that she's talked about. I can't with that. Nervous farts, dude. That's good. Shut up. That is crazy, bro.
From the left and went all the way up to bans on YouTube, whether they were justified or not. And this entire sentiment settled in a large part because of the left being unfettered in its cancel culture.
I mean, I guess I understand. Yeah, okay. I guess I kind of understand what you're talking about. I feel like
Okay,
like
but I'm
language and
using
stuff
this.
is always changing, and people are always like being captured, and people are always like moving in
I
directions of
agree.
things they
I
cannot
agree.
say.
Which is why when
So,
conservatives
I
bring
don't
this
know
up,
why, whatever.
well, because when conservatives bring this up, I will immediately point to when like at Christian space and like churches, when Republicans had more power, they just like wouldn't let you say like fuck and shit like that, right? They like did the same thing. The reason that I ever brought this up is as one explanation for a long litany of reasons as to why right wingers are mad. It's not to say that they're fully justified in their anger. It's just to say that this is one of the reasons driving the anger, and something that moderates blame the left for. They don't blame the right for. It's mostly a matter of internet
issue,
history that I'm
though.
referring to, but people keep en masse disagreeing with me that conservatives even got banned or moderated more, right? In fact, I have had people try to tell me that left wingers actually got targeted more. There's been people in my chat being like, actually it was the left that was targeted from 2016 to 2020 more, which is absurd. That's obviously not true.
If you're just doing a description of things, then I think I would agree. But you're mixing a lot of language. It makes it seem like it's more prescriptive, or that you're justifying the other end. So it's hard to,
Well, the
I guess,
issue
get
is
a handle on that sometimes.
people are baking in a lot of prescriptions as well. Like you can just ask.
What is it up with like Canadians? Does anybody know? Like, why is it that Canadians have such a hardcore stance on like appealing to like moderates? And like, this has to be like a Canadian culture thing, right? Like this has to be. It just has. Like I feel like there's no other explanation. Why is it like no Canadian agrees with Destiny? Like literally none. No Canadian I think I've ever met agrees with Destiny on this specific issue. It has to be a Canadian thing. It has to be. Right? Right?
I mean, clarify if that's the
Canadian thing.
prescription that I'm making. Am I prescribing that we
I
should
do?
just be
Are you
like en
Canadian?
masse banning the left to make up for it? Or that am I even prescribing language or rhetoric to people? I'm literally not. I'm starting with the description that this is true, that it did happen, and people won't even concede
Well, yeah,
that.
but you're not just saying that it's true and it did happen. You're also adding in secondary things where you're saying that like there were probably a
Attacking
larger
me
amount of
forever. Shut up.
unjustified bans. So you're saying that there were bans that happened that shouldn't have happened for the
do.
right wing, and that might be a big reason why they're mad. So and that sounds like a valid justification, I think, to anybody, right? Like, well, if people are going to
Okay.
ban for unjustified reasons, then they should be mad, right?
If it would be better that when I'm debating people like Hobbit Follower, I just keep holding him to the position of, but you can agree that the right experienced it more. You can agree that the right experienced it more, and finally
Hobbit
get him
who?
to concede that. Sure, then I should move into the justification. Maybe that would be a stronger like debate system. But however, if we're going into the justification system, we could talk about that. But we're not even there yet. If the conversation can't move past, of course the right experiences more. And of course, this cancel culture was driven from the left in recent internet.
Because US politics is fucked, the rest of the free world doesn't have partisan news organizations that endorse parties. That is why I'm sponsored by Ground News. Ground News delivers
history.
Yeah, I mean, okay, hold on. I'm going up an elevator. I might lose you. Hold on, give me 25 seconds.
Oh, he is walking.
Okay.
Can you hear me in here? Or is it totally
Yeah,
off?
I can hear you.
Bro, you know the two people I miss the most, okay? Fuck all the other orbiters, honestly. Yeah, you know what? Fuck them, all right? I just want two people back, all right? I want two people back, okay? I want ABBA and Lonerbox, okay? That's what I want. But, you know, Lonerbox obviously ties with Pixie and all that. So I don't think he's coming back. ABBA, because he announced to his audience that he's gonna stay fucking Bridgeburn. I don't know. I don't know, dude. Just bring these people back, okay? Bring these people back, please. Okay? I'll sacrifice my own Bridge of Destiny to bring back ABBA, alright?
I don't think you can hear me though. Hello, hello?
ABBA's the most real. I like ABBA because he's down to earth. Lonerbox is still secretly a fan of Destiny. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, I do actually agree with that. Yes. At least from what I've seen, yeah.
Here, okay, I changed my mind. You can have it.
Bro, I have such like messy like messy like bird nest hair right now, dude. You can see like little hair strands sticking out.
Hello, hello.
Oh, listen. Okay, can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then I'll make my point, or I can make a point. You ask a question. What do you
Okay,
want?
make your point. Make your point.
Okay. The only thing I was going to say is that like there's going to be some language, there's going to be some descriptions, there's going to be some analyses that are going to just feel so normatively loaded. It's going to be very, very hard to separate out like any normativity, like any like loading from the descriptions that you're making. And I think people are always going to feel a certain type of way. I think it's okay to do that if you're trying to provoke a certain response, but it's otherwise it's going to be really hard, right? Like,
Sure.
so if somebody were to tell me like,
To rebut you
like
on
if I were to
this.
make this,
Sorry, just
okay,
to,
just real quick. If I were to say, like,
but I'm
black
getting
people are
roped into
dumber,
making arguments that I'm not, and you're doing it right now.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. No, I'm not doing it right now. I'm telling you what's happening. If I say the statement, black people are dumber than white people in the United States, that is a descriptively true statement.
Pause.
I will never get past that statement to talk about like education or social justice or whatever else if I make that statement, because that's so normally loaded. People are like, what do you mean they're dumb? You think they're genetically inferior? You think that they're whatever?
Oh.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying everybody's going to get hung up on that description, no matter how true it might be.
Okay, so justified versus unjustified
Christ.
bans is only something I brought up within the process of this conversation when you said, I can agree that the right wing got more bans, and then we moved on to justification because
He's crashing out. No, he's walking. I don't know what it is, because I've been on call before, like arguing with people when I'm walking and doing things on the side. I don't know what it is, but when you're like actively multitasking on the side and you're like arguing with someone, somehow it just makes you feel more aggressive. Like, I don't know why. Like, I don't know why, but like, it just makes me feel more aggressive, you know, when I'm walking. Maybe because my like heartbeat is going and I'm like doing something with my legs and I'm not just like sitting my ass down or something like that. Like, I think that's why. But like, oh my God, it really brings out the evil in me. It makes me feel like I'm ready to kick a puppy or eat a dog. My inner Asian is coming out. Anyway. I think Loner Boss got really humiliated having his private life exposed in public, and also having to come to terms Pixie lied when she said she and Destiny were never together before she and him were a thing. I don't fucking know about all that thing. I need to get Loner Box's most recent thoughts on this entire thing. Because this as the case develops, I'm sure Loner Box's takes will also change. Who knows? But like I think Loner Box has still said that oh yeah, regardless, Rose, I don't fucking know. Do fuck me. You know what? We'll just see. I don't care anymore. Whatever. Loner Box is complicated. I get it.
nobody could
No,
even.
you brought that up. It came up in the Hobbit conversation,
But
right?
that's because he was also moving towards justification.
Sure, but then you say, well, we don't need to talk about that. But then the Sargon of Akkad example came up, and it's like, oh, well, now it feels like Kyla thinks that a lot of these bans were unjustified.
Yeah, so
like that's where the feelings are going to be.
sure. So okay, quick question. Do you disagree that there were probably unjustified bans?
I mean, I would cautiously agree with that, depending where you're going with it. But yeah, I'm sure there were.
Just like bans that if we could wave the magic moderator watch, we'd go, yeah, this was not fair. The thing was not happening. It was just driven by like a hate mob. Not good.
Have you already
Probably,
talked about Judge Ruling?
Okay. So that we can have that justification. Okay. But that's not even my point. Okay.
Okay.
My point with Hobbit, where we were stuck at right at that moment, was that he didn't even agree that the right was getting banned more. Right? He asked me for an example, which is why it gets into like this muddy area. But the issue is that I don't know how to have like the perfect rhetoric where people like won't jump down my throat over if like we can't even grant the first fact. In fact, I'm getting called a retard en masse for that. And then
Okay, listen, okay. Retard in this space. It's not that bad, is it? Like okay, like just for reference, anti-fans literally call her a dog fucker. Like I'm just saying, like in comparison to other people, like we all just call it, it's not even gendered. Like retard isn't even a gendered insult. Like it's not gendered. It's not, you know, specifically towards her in any way. It's not like pointed. It's not making fun of her trauma or anything like that. Like I just don't I don't get it. I just don't understand.
when
Sure.
No, I wouldn't say it's endearing either, right? Like retard can still hurt my feelings, but I'm just saying that if I think a position is retarded, I'm gonna say it's retarded. That's it. Like, and I'm gonna say you're retarded for thinking that. Yeah. How clearly did she pull out retard on innocuous random people when she joined your Discord? She called me a retard, but I earned it. To be fair, I mean, she can argue that she's lashing back, right? Like, she can argue that, oh yeah, because everybody else is like calling her a retard, she's like lashing. I don't fucking know, Jesus. Is the dog fucker thing real? I've never said. What, dude? What? You're gonna take like these accusations at the word? It's nothing is real until it's proven. Okay, literally nothing is real. It's completely utterly fake until it's proven. Okay. Okay, fuck you. Okay, yes, she's totally fucked a dog. You're right. Okay, totally.
Move on to the examples because I'm trying to like be good and engage with my opponent. I move on to examples. People are getting mad because now I'm like making prescriptive language and stuff like that. And it's like, you wanted to move it into this conversation of justification, which we can talk about. I'm willing to talk about these things. And yes, there are some prescriptions that will emerge from whether it's justified or not. But
yeah, I understand what you're saying. My guess is going to be, and I can't know because I can't read Hobbit's mind, and I could just disagree with Hobbit here. Maybe we would just fundamentally disagree. But my guess is going to be whether Hobbit realizes it or not. He's probably hitting on that, like whether you
Hobbit follower, more like Dobby, the house elf. Oh, sorry.
think the bans were justified or not when he says more people were banned. Because when the example that gets brought up is Sargon of Akkad, and that was an example of like a bad ban or an unjustified ban. And he's going to feel like you think that most of the bans against right wingers were unjustified, and that's where all of their anger comes from. That's my guess. He's not saying this, but I think that's what's happening mentally when he wants to fight against it in your conversation. Does that make sense?
Sure. I don't know how much of that is like my responsibility or whether like it's up to my opponent to like clarify what I mean necessarily. If I give Sargon of Akkad and then I describe him as a moderate right winger back in 2016, right? You should probably assume from that, unless you think I'm fucking retarded, that I probably don't think Alex Jones is somebody who's a moderate right winger, right? It's probably unreasonable to presume that I would be assuming this. Otherwise, like now the burden of my language in this conversation is so insanely high that it's like good charity is not happening at this point anymore.
Must suck, huh? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. That's what I'm just saying. That's what I think is
they're
happening.
still
Is
friends.
the feeling
That's
of the
cute.
conversation can feel kind of victim blaming or prescriptive, even if you're not trying to be. But that's my guess. But also, I have to set all this stuff up. Thanks for the conversation. I'm glad to hop on the fuck Kylo train. So, also, there's some guy in the room below or whatever who's a mega fucking simp or whatever. He's got like a purple avatar. You should tell the guy to chill out. Okay. Have fun. Bye.
Gotcha. He's a big hater. Gotcha. Have fun. Bye.
Jesus, who?
Oh, I guess to say this to all you freaks. Can we bring Hobbit back? No, he had an hour and a half. No. Well, we're switching words. Before it was cancel culture. Now it's just bans. Okay.
They're talking about Wick? True. True. Wick is a loser. He is a loser. I hate him more than Kyla. I hate him more than Kyla. Fuck. Oh, fuck.
This level of like debate bro retardation is something that is like so obnoxious that we
It was only Zip Zip? Oh, it was Zip Zip? No, they're not talking about Wick, guys. They're talking about Zip Zip.
just don't need to do because I'm not doing it to you guys. Just fucking chill.
That makes
Wick.
more sense.
Hey, I'll be very quick.
Oh my god. No, they're talking about Wick. Dude, okay, can I just not listen to this guy, please? Can we just, like, skip this? Nah, we love Wick Slop. Okay, let's go.
Only about a minute. I listened to most of that conversation. I heard your talk with the wizard guy earlier as well. Just real quick, I think that you may have already covered this, but I'll just go over it again. That the reason we talk about cancel culture on the
Is there someone you don't hate? Almost nobody. This is why I can't form any bridges, okay? Because I hate everyone.
left, do you want my camera on or not?
Sure.
Oh no, please, I don't want to look at his face. Please. No!
Okay. the reason we talk about cancel culture coming from the left is because the left during the 2010s to about the early 2020s held most of the institutional power. And when we talk about institutional power, cultural power, we're talking about academia, we're talking about movie studios, we're talking about HR departments, we're talking about all these other places. And it's just true that if you were going to be canceled, whether you were on the left or on the right, it was more likely someone with left-wing views that was going to be doing it. So it's not so much that the right was getting canceled more or the left was getting canceled less. It's that the people who were in charge and doing the canceling were on the left, by and large. Twitter was owned by people who were more on the left. We could look at Twitch as well. Twitch is still a good example. If a right-wing figure comes on or says,
Dude, this is like the same fucking take that we've been hearing from like Kyla in her fucking debate against Destiny. Like this is the same point. Like there's just nothing. Oh, there's nothing here. Dude, why is he even here? Like, why is Wick even here? Oh my god. Dude, I actually actively dislike Wick so much more than Kyla, okay? I don't know, like, listen, the people who hate Kyla are sexist, okay? It's, like, straight up, alright? Like, the people who, like, have some unhinged hatred of Kyla are 100% sexist, okay? Personally, as somebody who recognizes my implicit inherent sexism and I decide to evaluate them based off of a genderless perspective, I do actually hate Wick more, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, as someone who is fists are ready for everyone, okay? If I assume that Erudite is a guy, I do hate Wick more than Kyla, okay? Straight up, all right? I'm sorry. Okay, that's it.
and says something, or even a centrist figure comes on and makes a edgy comment or a bad joke or violates a toss in some way or gets close to violating the toss in some way, they are much more likely to catch a ban than someone who is on the far left, like Hassan or Frogan or any of those groups. This is just true. And I just needed to vent. And I just needed to kind of cheer you on. You're fighting a good fight. Thank you, Erudite. I really appreciate you.
This should be a big red flag, okay? If Wick is coming on to glaze you like this, you're cooked, okay? I'm sorry, you're cooked, all right? This is your sign, okay? You need to leave ASAP, all right? You need to get the fuck out ASAP, all right? This is your sign to get the fuck out, all right? It's over for you. It's fucking Jover for you, dude. It's Jover for you. Oh my god. Bro.
JM, thanks.
Okay, that's all I wanted. I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wait, okay, thank God. Okay, I think my mind just automatically blotted out that memory. Holy shit. Okay, sorry. Like, who was the last caller? Destiny, right? Okay, right. Yes, the last caller was Destiny. Okay. Thank God. All right.
Right.